Wargaming is the ultimate way to show off your skills, both with tactics and with art. And I don't know a lot about the tactics side, but I do know something about the art side. And so what's the best way to show off your art? Simple. You gotta destroy it first. One of the greatest parts about tabletop wargaming is that you can express yourself through your army, through the units that you paint. And yes, some people are okay with just painting the average paint job, painting what, Games Workshop or Steamforged Games or whatever other company has said, this is what the box art's going to look like. This is what they usually look like. And you can paint them that way too. And they even give you instructions on how to do that. And that's fine. But a lot of people, like myself, like to personalize their armies, like to go that extra step to make it their own. And you don't have to be a golden demon winner, to do that. You can be just an average Joe who's got a paint job that they like. And then there's the extra step. There's the personalizing of a unit. There's the kit bashing of a unit. There is changing a unit or a member of a unit to look like something more. To give that your extra oomph of, yeah, this is my army. And that is something that I love and I am totally on board with. And I have tried to do in little steps every step of the way. For the last year and a half that I've been painting, I've been trying to do a little more all the time. And today I've done more than I've ever done before. And I feel like I gotta show you. I really wanted to give a breakdown of what I did to this model. So this is Plugger. And Plugger is awesome. I remember the first time that I saw his concept art. And he's holding these two knives. He's got them upside down. I thought, oh man, that's going to be such a cool miniature to, show jumping on somebody, just attacking with those knives upside down. And so I thought, I'm going to kit bash this thing as soon as it comes out to make it look that way. I was hoping it would on its own, but when it came out, it actually looked like this. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a cool stance. I mean, they do a lot of this stuff where they have models that are standing on things. I mean, if you check this out, here's another one standing on different warjacks or different items and things like that, just to kind of make it more dynamic. And I've actually gone through this process before with another model that was shown standing on a unit, and that's this one. And I pulled him off the unit. I actually kept the unit in here, if you see this right here in the back. This is the unit that it was standing on originally, but I cut it off of it and I put it onto this base because I like that better, And this was my first attempt at really kit bashing, something from Warmachine. But anyway, back to this guy. So originally he was down low on both legs, so I needed to find a way to get his leg and extend it out so that it was, looked like he was jumping. And so I ended up going with a Dremel, and I cut straight through as close as I could to this. And because his leg used to be back up. And I cut that off, and then I glued it on the where I wanted it, but his foot wasn't bent in a way that made it look like it was jumping. It was too rigid, so I ended up cutting the foot off as well, straight up here. And then putting pins into these. I put pins in a bunch of these. I just used a paper clip, and I bought a little hand drill on Amazon for $6-7, something like that. And so once I had done that, I had stuff that I had to repair. And I was actually joking with somebody on the Warmachine Discord earlier this week where I was telling them that, I was going to kit bash this, and he was just like, oh man, that's a lot of money to, throw away if stuff goes wrong. And my response to him was, I'm confident enough in my Milliput skills to risk it. And for those of you who don't know what Milliput is, it's basically just a putty. It's a 2-part epoxy putty that you mix together. And then once you got it all nice and put together, you put it on the miniature, you do whatever you want with it. Okay, and so I used it to fill in these pieces to make the jack look like it was still together. This hose back here, I made that piece here. The knife was originally broken, which made sense with how it used to be because it was standing on top of this. And it had like the knife into the front of this piece. And so anyway, I decided I wanted to remake the knife as good as I could, but it was really hard to get this nice shape. Milliput's one of those things that when it's dry, I think it's a lot easier to work with, especially with, you know, using a file or something like that to just get things down to right where you want them. And so that's what I did. I put the Milliput here, here, and here, especially with the thought process of I'm going to come back and get this. And now, question for those of you who use Milliput. I haven't seen this before, so I have no idea. Like, I'm used to just putting them on the models and just leaving it there and letting it dry. But I've had Milliput fall off of my models as well. And so this time I actually super glued this piece on and then put it on over the top of that, which was really weird because it's like super gluing, you know, Play-Doh. And so it was really awkward, but it ended up working out okay. And so I'm just curious, like, what do people do? Is that the normal process? Is you glue the Milliput or you just put it on? But then I also coated my cork base just with some, you know, self-made dirt, using actual dirt, paint, and glue. And I put on here, and then I just put down some rocks and things like that. I'll put down some plants and other things. I was thinking about putting like barbed wire, but we'll see if I get there. But yeah, that's kind of the process that I went through with fixing Plugger. One of my friends called him, said it looked like Mario when Mario jumps. You know, wahoo! And he started calling him the Italian Plugger, and I thought that was really funny. So anyway, this is how Plugger turned out after my kit bash. I was actually watching Captain America, the First Avenger, when I started doing everything for this unit. And like, I was just looking at the unit and I was watching Captain Avenger and I was just like, this is kind of the same thing. Like, it's that ragtag group with their one guy that's so cool. And I was just like, that's kind of what I've done. And so I just felt like I had to do it justice. But as I was saying before, when you put $80 into a single miniature, or more than that, because we all know there are miniatures out there, $150, $200, you know, for a single miniature, it can be very hard to start tearing it apart. And what I have to say to you for that is start small. Start with something small. Gain confidence in your skills to tear things apart and put them back together better. Like I said, I am not a genius with Milliput. I'm not. But I know enough to be dangerous, right? I know enough to put things back together in a way that I'm happy with. Is this guy perfect? Is Plugger perfect? No. He's not. But he looks good. And when I paint him, he's going to look great. And it will be one of those things that you won't be able to look at and say, oh, he tore that apart and it looks awful now. It'll be one of those things that people will wonder why it's different. And I'll get to tell them about that process and show it off a little bit. And it doesn't take a lot to do it. Okay? I'm new to this process. If there's something that you're doing or that you do to make it easier for you or to make it a little stress-free, I want to know about it. I want to know what you're doing, and I'm sure other people want to know what you're doing as well to make the kit bashing process that much better. So please leave a comment below. Let us know how you make kit bashing easier or what you do to make it so it's not so nerve-wracking to tear into an $80 miniature. And stick around. I'm going to paint this guy. I hope to paint this whole unit and get it together and do like a side-by-side with Captain America and his team. No, it's not the same paint scheme. I'm not doing that. But I'm going to paint it and it's going to be fun. And I want to show you what it looks like when it's all done. So please stick around for that. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell, and you'll be notified every single time that I post a video. And hopefully you'll join me as I go through this journey of painting more units, kit bashing more things, getting my tabletop to look exactly the way that I want to, and in its own way to look like a representation of me. Because in the end, that's what I'm striving for, and that's what I think a lot of us are striving for. So, stick around. And as always, don't spend so much time building your world, kit bashing stuff, that you forget to spend some time in it. That's what we're here for, is to play the game, right? Until next time.